everyone, welcome to this week's Tuesday video. In today's video, as you've already read in the title, it is a get ready with me chit chat edition. So I really love watching these because I feel like I get to know the personality of the people that I'm watching a little bit more, and so I wanted you guys to get to know me and my personality a little bit more. So here I am with a chit chat get ready with me. I hope you enjoy, and let's get started. I am going to start off with the eyes as I normally would, just simply because in case you have any fallout or you go really heavy handed on something, you can always clean it, wipe it away, re-moisturize, and you're good to go. First thing I always do is a primer. This one is the Stay Don't Stray from Benefit. It has been my go-to primer lately, simply because I like the way that it primes my eyes, and I also like the fact that it's not too white, like it's not a white cast on the eyelids. It's they have two different shades. They have like the light medium and the medium deep, which is the one that I have, the medium deep, and I feel like it just really covers up the pigment on my lid without making it look like white, you know? Okay, since that primer does make my lids feel just a tad bit tacky, I always add something on top of them, like set it in a way. And I usually like to set with my pressed powder from NARS, just because I feel like it matches my skin tone like really, really well. And so I just take a shader brush and I just set that into place. Okay, so after setting, I am going to be working with my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. Oh, I love this palette. Can I just say that? I love this palette. To start off, I am going to be working with Golden Ochre. I'm just going to start applying that with my E40 onto the outer V, and I always work with the outer V and then just kind of swirl and buff that in to where I want it. For now, it's going to be kind of like all over the lid and along the crease. So circular and windshield wiping motions. Okay, so after applying that onto the entire lid and along the crease, using the same brush, I am thinking I'm gonna go with Burnt Orange and apply that pretty much in the exact same locations as I did the previous step, but not all over the lid. So just buffing that in back and forth along the crease and just working that in. I usually go back and forth with my colors, especially when they're really light, like to start off with, because of my skin tone. You can't really see them a whole lot when I first start applying them. And so I do have to build them up a little bit. So I usually go back around 2 to 3 times at least. And then just apply it to the other side. Try to keep that as even looking as possible. Isn't that the struggle? Keeping your eyeshadows looking even on like both sides. I still have such a hard time with that. Still, I can make one eye look pretty good, but whether or not the other one's going to match, it's a toss-up. Okay, so switching up the brushes. This one is my E25 from Sigma. I'm going to be grabbing the shade Realgar, I believe is how you pronounce that. And just grabbing that and patting that onto the outer V before dragging it into the crease. Okay, now that I like the way that it looks, going back and just very lightly blending out the edges. Okay, I'm going to be grabbing the shade Love Letter. So it's a really like pinky purple shade. And I really like it. So I don't know why, I just feel like the orange and the pink might look nice right on top of each other. So we're gonna go ahead and apply it on the outer V and then drag it in just slightly less than the orange. And I tilt my head because I feel like it's easier for me to keep it round, because when I just look at myself like this, I don't know why, I just have the need to wing it out, but I want to keep it round. So that's why I tilt my head. Might be weird, but like it works out. So now that I've added that onto there, I'm debating whether or not I should go in with an even deeper shade, which is Cypress Umber, or if I should just leave it alone. You know what? I'm going to do it. Ooh, maybe Antique Bronze. Yes. Okay, I'm actually going to be grabbing Antique Bronze instead. This palette, as much as I love it, has a ton of fallout. Okay, so I'm grabbing that and just dabbing that onto the outer V. Okay, so now that we've gotten our crease, our outer V, everything's good, blend once again. You have to blend it all out. So now that all that is complete, I am going to be grabbing the color, yes, Vermeer. And with shimmery shadows like this, especially when the consistency or when the formula is really, really buttery, I don't mind grabbing my fingers and just and putting it right on the lid, because I feel like you get a better application out of doing that with the finger as opposed to, like, you know, grabbing a fancy brush. Just applying it onto the mobile lid area, of course stopping right before the outer V because I didn't spend all that time on it for nothing, and right before the crease. And then grabbing the smaller blending brush without any additional product, just straight like that, and very lightly brushing in between where I placed the lid color and where I placed all the other colors to blend it all out. Next comes the hard part, liner. I've been really loving the Maybelline Eye Studio gel liner in Blackest Black, so that's literally all I've been using for gel liner whenever I do apply it. I say a prayer, hold my breath, and start at the middle, so I'm not going to be talking very much. I'll probably just fast forward you guys through this. Okay, so now that my eyeliner, I think, is even and complete, we can finally move on, like 5 hours later. Okay, so at this point in time is when I go in with a wipe and wipe away any of the fallout that has happened underneath the eye area. Okay, so now that I've moisturized the under eye area and that it has seeped into my skin, I am going to be covering up these pores here, right here. They're not as noticeable as before I started the Clarisonic. Before I started the Clarisonic, you could really see my pores, and I was like, oh goodness, I thought it was just maybe me just getting old, like me getting older. But no, it turns out that they were just disgustingly dirty. So I started using my Clarisonic, and ever since then, I don't really notice them as much anymore, but I still take notice. So I always cover them up, and I always do it with either my Porefessional, like pore filling balm from Benefit, or lately I've been doing the Estee Edits Pore Vanishing Stick, which is just, oh, I love it. So just taking care of that and then applying my color corrector. Now, I really, really love the Becca brightening corrector because it doesn't, like, as opposed to all the other ones that I've found, because I've tried quite a few this year, quite a few color correctors, and if they are too, like, dark in color, which is I guess what I need to cover up my dark circles, but if they're too dark in color, I don't like to use them. I had the peach one, I had the papaya one from the same brand because I like the consistency, and so I grabbed those, but I don't like to use them anymore, or ever really did, because I found that my foundation would change color on me around the eye because it would blend in with the color corrector. I've also tried like the LA Girl color correctors as well. They did the same thing. So this is my one and only for the time being until I find something better on the market. But I like that some people don't like the tackiness of it, but I like it because I feel like that way it stays in place a lot better. And so yeah, that's why I'm still using it. This is literally like my second little jar, and I'm almost through it, so I'm gonna have to go get a third little jar here soon. People have made mention to me that, like, I could get fillers and, like, that would take care of the issue, and I'm not gonna lie, I have thought about it. I had thought about it before it was mentioned to me, but I don't know, it's just, I might at some point think about it a little bit more, but I don't know, I'm just kind of, like, afraid of needles. It's terrifying to me, and so if I ever get over that, I might consider it, but until then, I'm just going to deal with them, and yeah, I'll try to cover them up as best I can. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, now I can do foundation. For today, I'm going to be using the Double Wear foundation from Estee Lauder. Love this stuff, so full coverage, just it wears so nicely, and it just covers up everything that you don't want to be seen. taking that with my middle finger and applying it as I normally would, which is just to different sections of my face, making sure that I get all the way to the hairline and then, of course, all the way down my neck. Just makes you look really flawless. I love this foundation. Also, it's really good in humidity, and like here in the South, we will be humid, you know, morning, noon, and night. We were out and about on Sunday, and oh my goodness, I was sweating in places that I won't even mention. Okay, so now that I'm done with my foundation, moving on to concealer. This one is the Naked Skin Concealer from Urban Decay. The first tube that I grabbed was definitely too light on my skin tone, but this tube actually matches my skin complexion a lot better. I like to stick closer to my foundation shade with my concealers, just because I feel like if I use lighter ones under my eyes, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just feel like it makes my dark circles just more noticeable. And if I put on a concealer that matches my skin tone a little bit better, I don't feel like they're as noticeable. So that is why I do that. And of course, just blending it out with my beauty blender. You have to blend this stuff out like super fast when you're applying it because it will set super fast. So now that I've got the concealer in place, I have to set it. I just have to set it. I have to. Regardless of what concealer it is, I have to set it because I have a lot of lines underneath my eyes and it will absolutely crease. So I am going to be setting with this RCMA guy. Now that I've had that, before I finish off the rest of the face, I'm going to go back on to the eyes. So I'm going to do my brows first. This one here is the Brow Beater from Urban Decay, which yeah. This one, pretty good product. Okay, now moving on to lashes. For today, I'm going to be using the Featherette Lash. I like these because they're pretty glam. They're pretty out there, but they're a little bit more toned down than like the iconic lash from House of Lashes or like the Fairy Noir lash, which are kind of like really, they're really glam. These ones are glam, but not too incredibly glam. So that's why I like wearing these. Too much glue. Did you guys hate that? Do you ever do that? When you're trying to apply just like the right amount of glue onto your lash, and the first squeeze, it's like a ton of glue or a bubble. I hate bubbles. Okay, let's do this. All right. Look how much different my eyes look. Glam, not so much. Okay, let's do the other one. Ha 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 ha, it's getting a little hot. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the under eye area. Now that I have my concealer on, I can go ahead and do that while my lashes completely dry, and then that way I can put a nice coat of mascara at that point without having to worry about them moving or, you know, getting crazy or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead, and I wanted to close up the eyes a little bit. I wanted it to be nice and like, you know, glam. So I'm going to actually do a black liner along the waterline. So grabbing my eye like that, I'm just going to be popping this in to my waterline. This is like the darkest black I've ever worked with, ever. This is the ColourPop cream gel liner. On the under eye area, I think I'm going to do burnt orange. Just blend that in to the black gel liner. And I'm just using the brush that came with the palette. Okay, now that I'm done with that, I can go ahead and I can add a coat of mascara onto the lashes. So this, I'm just using the Voluminous Lash, or the Voluminous Mascara from L'Oreal. What I've been doing after I add mascara onto my false lashes to try to blend my real lashes into them is I just pinch them slightly. So I kind of massage my lashes into the false lashes, because I hate when you put on your false lashes, whether or not you've already put mascara on or not, and you can obviously see like, oh yeah, they're her false lashes, they're her real lashes. Like there's like a kind of like a gap in between. Can't. I hate that. So that is why I've been doing this, and it seems to be working. So now finishing off the face, finally. So I'm going to be applying just a light layer of a mineralized powder onto my cheeks to kind of set everything in place. And also because it helps me with blending out blush and like contour. So I'm just going to go in with the Smashbox contour palette. Obviously start off with the contour shade on the hollows of my cheek, which is like more gray toned powder because it's supposed to resemble like shadows, you know? And then going in with a bronzing shade. And that's when you go in from the contour line and then just swirling that upward. For blush and highlight today, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Master Contour Palette. They have two different palettes, one for light to medium skin tones and one for medium to deep skin tones. I grabbed the light to medium just because I liked the blush on this one a little bit better. So applying that blush on top of the bronzer. Since it's really light, it's not covering up a whole heck of a lot of my bronzer. If anything, it's combining to make a really nice blush shade. And for the highlight, I'm just going to be using the highlight from here, which I love. So popping that on top of my cheekbones, and then I kind of just drag it down a little bit so that you can see it from all angles, you know? And then I always just do the bridge of my nose. I just feel like it looks pretty flattering. That's why I do that. Okay, so on the lips today, I'm going to be applying the Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lip, and this one is in the shade Lolita. Okay, and getting your shape right is so hard. I don't know how many times I have to wipe away liquid lipstick before it dries. And I like that I can layer this one and that it won't be an issue with transferring or feeling worse or feeling tacky or anything like that. So that completes this Get Ready With Me look. I really hope that you all enjoyed it. I know that I had a blast doing this chit chat Get Ready With Me, which is a lot different than any of my other videos, which I usually do voiceovers. So I don't know, this was a lot different and I enjoyed it a lot better. Because usually when I am talking to the camera, I'm just like kind of envisioning my friends sitting on the other side so that I act somewhat natural and I don't feel as awkward just speaking into a camera and like no one in the room. So this helped, this chit chat, because I definitely envisioned all of you guys and just us getting ready, having a good time, and just talking about makeup. So really hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.